on an all-new Ricki.
Alternative medicine miracles.
Did you ever think you'd be sitting here 10 years later after this kind of diagnosis?
It's amazing. I didn't know if I'd last a year.
How he beat stage 3 colon cancer by not doing chemo.
What'd your family think?
Most of them thought I was nuts.
A stroke survivor shows us the latest technology that has her walking again.
But you are basically the bionic woman.
One of my legs lifts my toes up so that I can walk, controlled by remote control.
You gotta try going through security with these.
TV's Hercules, actor Kevin Sorbo opens up about how his life changed in an instant.
I knew something horrific had just happened to me.
On Ricki.
Today. Feeling well? Glad to hear it. When you're sick, you're supposed to go to the doctor, get a diagnosis, follow doctor's orders, and hopefully feel better. But what if your intuition tells you to keep searching beyond conventional wisdom to find your own cure? Our first guest did just that. Chris was just 26 years old when doctors diagnosed him with stage 3 colon cancer. And that is when he decided to take matters into his own hands. Take a look at his story.
In the fall of 2003, then 26 years old, Chris Wark was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. Shortly after, surgeons removed 1/3 of his colon as well as lymph nodes. His oncologist advised him that after surgery, Chris would also need to endure 6 to 9 months of chemotherapy.
The whole idea of poisoning your way back to health just didn't sit right with me. It didn't make sense.
After some soul-searching and research, Chris made the radical decision to say no to conventional treatment.
I told the oncologist I wasn't going to do chemotherapy. He told me I was insane.
Instead, Chris began a raw vegan diet, which included special salads and juicing. He began a vigorous lymph-cleansing exercise program, including rebounding. Today, 10 years later, Chris remains cancer-free.
Cheers.
And has become an outspoken advocate of chemo-free cancer treatment through his web series, chrisbeatcancer.com.
Hope that helps. See ya.
I am so honored to have him here. Please welcome Chris Wark. I have every hair standing up. It is a pleasure to meet you, honestly. We've got like a hoo-ha going on here. Did you ever think you'd be sitting here 10 years later after this kind of diagnosis?
That's the first thing I thought, actually. I'm going to be on Ricki Lake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Not the old Ricki Lake, the new one.
Yes, I'm going to be on the new Ricki Lake. Please, Lord. No, I mean, it's amazing. I didn't know if I'd last a year.
You were 26 years old,
yeah.
So to get a diagnosis like this, colon cancer is very rare in that age group.
Super rare, but less rare now because young adult cancers are on the rise.
Because of what we're eating,
yes.
Because of processed foods, because of all these things that you learned through this experience.
Yeah, and toxins in our environment. It's the food we're eating, it's the toxins in our environment, and stress. That's another big one.
Yes. So, okay, so you get this diagnosis, you're so young, you have to have surgery immediately. You had surgery within the week?
I had surgery within about a 2-week period, but usually, you know, the way the system works is they rush you right into surgery. I mean, they want to get you on the conveyor belt as soon as possible.
So there's almost no informed consent?
No, there's no time to think about it. I mean, I think probably a lot of people in this audience have known someone that was diagnosed with cancer, and they were in surgery within days, like literally. The next day, 2 days later. So
did you have a chance to question or get a second opinion?
Not really, no. I mean, it hit me like, you know, I mean, it was like getting run over with a truck, you know.
So what were your symptoms? What does it feel like?
I was having abdominal pains, and I thought I put it off for most of the year, being a typical male, and you know, so I thought I had an ulcer. And I just kind of put it off because I was busy. And then eventually the pain got worse and worse and went to...
Was it all day long? Was it after eating?
No, it would just come and go, usually within 45 minutes to an hour after I ate. So that's why I was like, oh, I guess I got an ulcer or something. You know, I didn't want to deal with it. And finally it really started to get very painful. And it was waking me up in the middle of the night. And so, you know, then I went and saw a couple doctors, got referred around, and eventually got a colonoscopy, and that's when they found the tumor, which is a golf ball-sized tumor in my large intestine.
And so they take you in and they do a biopsy, or they
they want to...
Yeah, they did the colonoscopy. They saw the tumor, did a biopsy on it, and called me a couple days later and said, look, you've got colon cancer. You know, we got to get you in surgery right away. We got to get this thing out. You know, and they basically use fear to motivate you to take immediate action, you know. And so I was just like, okay.
And then after the surgery, they're saying you're going to have how many rounds of chemo?
Basically, they said I needed 6 to 9 months of chemotherapy. I didn't know how many rounds it was going to be. Because it was stage 3. It had spread to my lymph nodes, which they found in surgery.
So, and did your immediate thought was no?
No, my immediate thought was, okay. You know, I mean, I didn't know anything about anything. But after I sobered up from all the pain meds, which took about a week, and from surgery, you know, I just really was thinking about it the whole time, and the idea of poisoning my way back to health did not make sense instinctively. And so, you know, I was like, I can't do something that I don't agree with. It doesn't make sense. I would rather overdose on nutrition and pump my body full of all the nutrients that it can use to heal and boost my immune system and detoxify.
So were you a healthy eater before?
No, no, completely not. Let's see. Microwave food, processed food, fast food, junk food. I've always been thin, thought I could eat whatever I wanted.
What'd your family think? I mean,
most of them thought I was nuts.
It sounds to me, I mean, I know it's not the same thing at all, but when I wanted to have a home birth with my second child and I told my family and friends and they all thought I was crazy. I mean, it sort of feels like there's some parallels. It's like they were like, what are you thinking? There's no way you're going to die, right?
Exactly right.
So how did you convince everybody that this is...
I didn't convince anyone. I just knew in my heart that was what I needed to do. You know, my wife and I had prayed about it, and we just had a very clear answer that I needed to go that way, that I needed to rebuild my body, and I needed to eat whole food from the earth, you know, that we were designed to eat.
So, okay, so what's the first step? So you recover from your surgery. What's the first thing you eat when you go to the grocery store?
The first step for me was basically a 90-day period of raw food. So I ate the raw vegan diet for 90 days. I was drinking 8 glasses of vegetable juice a day.
Vegetable juice that you were making on your own?
I bought a juicer, and I turned orange. I juiced so many vegetables, I turned orange. And there's a couple pictures of me that in the video.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. You can tell I'm orange.
All right, well, yeah, Chris says he ate his way to being cancer-free.
Yeah, there it is.
Up next, he will show us the secret weapons in his cancer-fighting journey. Please stay with us. Coming up.
I mean, I took my life in my own hands, but that to me was a much better option than chemotherapy.
Did your doctors support this decision, your oncologist?
No.
No?
Nope.
Did they continue to treat you, or are you still their patient? Still to come.
Certainly never in my wildest dreams did I believe that my daughter would have been victim of one, and I'd never seen one, actually.
Right, she prefers survivor.
Yes, I'm not a victim of anything.